good hello everyone, my name is Nathan or ELEMENTofFROST. Welcome back to another episode prediction video for this week's upcoming episode of The Walking Dead, Season 5, Episode 13, entitled Forget. Now, as always, my prediction videos and my review videos for The Walking Dead obviously do contain spoilers. Obviously, they also do contain parts of the comic book that I'm kind of comparing and contrasting with. So, if you guys obviously don't want to hear about the comic book, or you guys don't want to hear about the TV show, like if you're not caught up in the episodes or something like that, pretty self-explanatory. Don't watch these episode predictions or reviews that I post. Now, this week's upcoming episode of The Walking Dead will be airing on March the 8th, and obviously I will have an episode review up on Monday, March the 9th. Now, if you guys were staying tuned to my channel, you would see that my episode review this week was one day late because I was trying to render it. And my computer was being really slow. I do really apologize for that, but it will not happen again. Anyways, yeah, let's get into the predictions. We're going to start off by reviewing the episode synopsis, or whatever you guys want to call it. Basically, it's kind of like a reading of what the episode will be kind of based about, you know, the gist of it, I guess, if you will. So yeah, this episode entitled Forget. Last episode was entitled Remember. So Rick and the group continue to acclimate? I don't know how to read that. Acclimate. Wow, I'm retarded. Rick and the group continue to acclimate to their new surroundings. Will they be able to go back to normalcy? I don't know who the fuck wrote this synopsis of The Walking Dead. Better yet, what is normal now? I really don't know if normalcy is a word, but hey, might be. Learn something new every day. Anyways, here we go, guys. It's basically the gist of what it's saying is, as the group continue to kind of grow to their new surroundings, their new setting and stuff like that, as they get used to it in a way, will they be able to go back to normal? Will they be able to go back to how they lived in the prison, you know, in Season 4 more specifically, because in Season 3 it was still kind of barbaric. But in Season 4 more specifically, will they be able to go back to how they were living in the prison, like how they were civilized and, you know, stuff like this? Will they be able to do that? Will they be able to go back to live in a civilization like before, you know, like before this entire apocalypse even happened? Will they be able to do it, since they're now behind walls and they're in a community? I was going to say a city, but it's definitely not that big. They're in a community, you know, completely walled in. They actually have houses. They're not all bundled up in a prison. So, you know, if they were actually going to go back to civilization, if they were going to go back to being normal human beings, then this would kind of be the place to start doing that. You know what I mean? It would definitely work, considering it's probably the closest to what they've had before the apocalypse, post-apocalypse. So, anyways, that's the synopsis of the episode. It's basically saying, will they be able to go back? Who knows? You know, if they go to the comic book, it will take a while, but they eventually will get back to how they were, and then, you know, someone's going to come into the picture and, you know, kind of send them back to the animal kingdom, if you will. You know, being survival of the fittest and, you know, everything like that. So anyways, in this episode, what I see happening is much more of the same that we've seen in the last episode. You know, they're now in this community. They are now trying to get used to the new people that they are meeting. Obviously, Rick at the end of last episode says that if they can't get used to them, then, well, what the fuck? We'll just take this place. You know, they're kind of trying to conform. You know, they're definitely trying their best. But they know that they have the ability and they have the capability of taking that place if they actually need to. If the people already there can't get used to the fact and the idea of them staying there, you know, them starting to make rules around there in order to make that community even more safe than it already is, because obviously they've survived. Rick's groups has survived outside the walls for a number of months. It's been absolutely incredible. You know, if anyone knows what they're doing in terms of survival, it's Rick and his family. So if they can't, obviously, in that community, if they can't trust that, if they can't believe in Rick and believe in his family and do basically what Rick and his family are told, you know, what they're told to obviously tell the other guys. Like, for example, last week's episode, you know, Glenn had a really big confrontation with a guy named, yeah, I don't really remember his name. Nonetheless, though, they were out on a scavenger run, and this guy was all full of shit. You know, he was telling Glenn that you got to listen to me if you want to survive out there. Obviously not, you know. Obviously not. His crew died, basically, and Glenn has been on the one outside of the walls, not doing supply runs, not going out for like a half an hour a day and going to get some supplies and running right back to safety. Glenn has been out there doing what he needs to do and doing it successfully in order to survive. If anyone knows what he's doing, if anyone should be giving orders while going on supply runs, it's Glenn. That's just how it is, you know. It's basically it. They think they know a lot because they have been doing it and they've been lucky not to get killed, but they don't. You know, it's just the sheer fact that everything has gone right for them and the fact that they didn't get killed. That they think they're basically full of shit now. You know, they think they're the man, and they're the ones you have to listen to in order to go outside those walls and come back safely. So I do think there's going to be more confrontation between Glenn and that scavenging group that they are now basically a part of. I definitely do think that. As far as Rick goes, and Carl and everything like that, I think Carl is really just going to be getting used to the fact that he's now behind these walls. Maybe he'll start focusing on being a kid. I really hope not. Hopefully he doesn't let his guard down or anything like that. I do want him to stay strong. And I think he will. You know, I think he will. He'll have these moments in time where he, excuse me, where he does obviously want to do kid stuff, you know, because his brain isn't obviously, you know, mature yet, because he is still a kid, a teenager, I guess, if you will. But yeah, no, I think there's definitely going to be a time where he's going to want to be a kid, and then he also has to realize that he can't. You know, he has to stay on his guard at all times, because anything, it only takes 1 second, and it's over. Basically, what Rick said at the start of Season 5 when they all first got to the church. You know, that's exactly what Rick said to Carl. You know, I need you to hear me. Never let your guard down. You know, everything like that. And he basically told Carl what to do. You know, in this world, like he said that it only takes a moment. It only takes 1 second, and it's all over. You know, and that's a very, very smart rule to live by. Never let your guard down. Not in this zombie apocalypse world now. You have to keep it up, no matter what, at all times. Even though it can get hard. You know, even though you don't always want to be callous, I guess, if you will. You have to be. That's how it is. That's survival. Now, for Rick, more specifically, I think he's going to be starting to take charge. You know, I think he's going to be giving Diana, or whatever her name is, however you want to pronounce it, I think he's going to be giving her more tips on how to do things here. You know, he obviously started off really, really fast last week by saying, don't open your doors just for anyone. You know, obviously, that's what that was one of the key moments. But she noticed that he was starting to take charge and starting to care about this community. Was when he said that, you know, don't open your doors for anyone. Anyone can just come in here, and they always are looking to take advantage of a group of people that are like trying to survive, you know, but trying to do it the old way. That's what people are always looking for now. They're trying to just, you know, make you look away just for a second and take your food, take your supplies, you know, everything like this. He started to take charge last week, and like I said, I think there's going to be more of the same this week. I think he's going to be, you know, starting to give tips on maybe how to barricade the walls even more, which I'm not really sure is even possible at this point, because the walls are pretty damn secure. But, you know, if someone can get over them from the inside just by, you know, putting a little peg in the side of a pole, like Enid did, obviously, that girl, when Carl seen her like she did, you know, it's probably something can happen from the other side as well. You know, that someone could probably climb over. Maybe not a walker, but definitely invaders. You know, maybe Rick will start to try to make the camp more, instead of walker-proof, more people-proof. You know, maybe they have to station up guard towers and lookout towers and everything like this. You know, that would actually be a smart idea, because as I see right now, they actually don't have any lookout towers or any guard towers or anything like that up. And that's something you definitely need, because at this point, everybody has to know that the threat is not just walkers. You know, we'll go back to a motto back in Season 3. Fight the dead, fear the living. And that's just how it should be throughout this sort of a world now. You know, fight the dead, fear the living. People are actually more dangerous than walkers because, you know, they're out there, they're looking for supplies, they're looking for food, and when you are hungry, when you're a hungry human being, you will do just about anything to get what you need, to get what you have to get in order to survive, in order to protect your people. Whether that be, you know, kill someone for food, whether that be invade a community and, you know, obviously steal their supplies, or whether that just be, you know, maybe a bunch of unstable psychopaths, you know, sort of like the governor, if you will. So yeah, I think he's going to be trying to take more charge now. You know, I think he's going to be maybe, like I said, pointing out the fact that this camp is walker-proof. You know, it has the walls, but who says that people can't ram through it, or people can't climb over, or, you know, station an attack of some kind. You know, when they went to Virginia with Noah, obviously Noah's camp was overrun. Sheerwilt Estates, or Wiltshire Estates for the comic book, if you guys are interested in knowing anything about that. Sheerwilt Estates, that was Noah's community in the TV show. There was a community very, very, very similar to that in the comic book that we actually seen. I believe it was before Herschel's Farm that we actually seen called Wiltshire Estates instead of Sheerwilt Estates. So they kind of changed the name around a little bit. But nonetheless, they had walls, but they didn't have lookouts. At least what I noticed, they didn't have lookouts. And obviously when they got there, well, a lot of things happened. You know, there was legs and arms missing, torsos and heads, and, you know, stuff like that. Never really good, you know, thing came of that. Obviously that wasn't walkers. You know, walkers don't just have a tendency to eat torsos and heads. They eat everything. So it couldn't have been a walker invasion. Not to mention, the gates were still completely intact except for one wall that looked like it was blown to bits. You know, it actually looked like someone stuck a pack of C4 to it and blew it up. You know, it actually looked like that. It didn't look like, you know, the gates were overrun by a pack of walkers and the gates just collapsed. It didn't look like that because the gates were fine. It was a stone wall on the outer perimeter of, like, the back side of the community that was literally blown up. You know, it was literally, there was a giant chunk out of it, and that's obviously where people probably came through. Which leads me to my next theory of the scavengers. I think we're going to be seeing those guys very, very soon. We're on episode 13, meaning we have 13, 14, 15, and 16 left to go. That's 4 episodes, guys. So they're going to start introducing the scavengers very soon, whether it be this episode or maybe the end of this episode, and then obviously the starting of the next one. Well, who knows? I think, like I said, it's going to be more of the same. You know, Carl getting used to things, Rick trying to take charge, maybe suggesting a few things. Being a police officer, there might be some indications of what could happen. You know, there could be certain crimes or confrontations between some of the community members that might cause Rick to sort of be a cop and be a police officer or a constable again. You know, it might sort of force him to be like, hey, that's enough, you know, let's resolve this in a peaceful manner, you know, kind of be the light hit of the group again. You know, I don't really see that happening per se. I can kind of see him, you know, sort of working stuff out like that, being a police officer again, but, you know, he's definitely going to want to try to take charge. And if not, like, I don't see him outright saying, you know, let me take charge or I'm going to kill you. I kind of seeing it happening like this. Like, I see Rick sort of taking charge of the group by suggesting things to Deanna and, you know, making things happen, making things more safe. Maybe Deanna disagrees with him with a few things, and then something happens that obviously proves that Rick was right and they should have gone that way. Sooner or later, Deanna is probably going to realize, you know, just like the comic book, the Doug character in the comic book that led Alexandria in the comic book, she's going to realize, you know, I'm a good leader, but I'm not as good as you. I'm not as fit to lead this group as you are. So I'm going to step down, and you're going to step up. That's basically what Doug did in the comic book. I'm a good leader, but you would be even a better leader. And when it comes to survival, hopefully they all realize that. Obviously they don't get all huffy-puffy about it and, make a big scene or anything like that. Hopefully no one leaves the community when Rick takes charge, but I do believe he will be taking charge. Maybe not in this episode, maybe not even in the next episode, but definitely soon. It's going to happen. That's what happened in the comic book, and that's what I believe is going to happen in the TV show. Because Rick is a leader, born and raised. That's just who he is. He's a leader. You can't really take that away from him. When you join a new group, it'll be fine for a while. He'll give these suggestions, like I said, that maybe she'll disagree on, and she'll eventually realize that, shit, you were right all along. I'm not a leader deserving of this community. This community is not deserving of my leadership. It's deserving of yours. And that's what she's going to realize, and when that happens, well, shit's going to go down. Rick's going to take charge, and shit's going to be safe. Shit's going to be real safe. But nonetheless, that's what I think is going to happen in this episode, just more of the same. And like I said, maybe near the end of the episode, they're going to introduce maybe the scavengers, or maybe them knocking on the doors or something like that, saying, give us our supplies, or we will kill you all. So, hopefully you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, feel free to hit the video with a like, share it with your friends. Tell me in the comment section below what you guys want to see from me. Also, discuss in the comments what you guys think is going to happen in this upcoming episode of The Walking Dead, Season 5, Episode 13, entitled Forget. I will be definitely looking down in the comments to see what you guys think is going to happen. And, yeah, there's as far as the sneak peeks go, there's definitely going to be confrontations with Daryl. He's obviously not 100% accepting of this community yet, but, I think he'll get there. There's a scene, actually, where he's outside the walls with Aaron, or at least I believe it's Aaron, and they're kind of running away from a herd of walkers and stuff like that. Sasha, she's taking her rage out on Coke cans and bottles and shit like that with her gun. And I don't know. I don't know where Sasha's going. But she's definitely been through a lot. She lost Bob. She lost her brother Tyrese. Shit's been tough on her. But it's been tough on everybody. So she's gotta learn to deal. So, yeah, like I said, discuss in the comments what you guys think is going to happen, and I'll be definitely down there with you, and I'll definitely talk to you. Subscribe if you guys haven't already. Episode reviews go up on Monday, and episode predictions go up on Thursday. Every other video in between has to do with me doing gaming videos. That's my channel. If you guys haven't yet, please feel free to subscribe. I'm almost to 1,000. I'm about 950 something now. So let's try to get me to 1,000. Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.